You don't have a money problem. You have a system problem. And that difference, that one reframe, is going to change how you see the next decade of your life. Most people spend years believing they just need a raise, a better title, a company that finally appreciates them. They optimize inside the cage without ever questioning the cage itself. And by the time they realize what's happening, they've already lost 10 years. Here's what this video is actually about. It's not about hating your job. It's not about quitting tomorrow. It's about understanding with total clarity why the structure most people build their lives around is mathematically designed to keep them exactly where they are. And then how to walk out of it intelligently. Hit subscribe if you want to keep running the real math, because that's all we do here. Let me start with something that sounds harsh, but is just true. If you are trading your time for a fixed salary, your income has a ceiling. It's not a glass ceiling. It's a concrete one. Every year you stay inside that structure, the ceiling doesn't move, but your expenses do. Inflation moves. Your rent moves. The cost of groceries, insurance, school, everything. It all drifts upward while your salary moves in slow, negotiated increments that barely keep pace. That's not a career. That's a treadmill with a dress code. Think about two people. Same city, same starting salary, same educational background. 10 years later, one is still checking their bank account every Friday, relieved when the number clears. The other has built something, income, that doesn't require their presence. Options their job never offered them. Same starting point. Completely different financial reality. What happened between those two people? It wasn't luck. It wasn't some secret investment that paid off. It was one decision made quietly, without fanfare, to stop playing by the rules of a system that was never designed to make them wealthy. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why most people never escape the 9-to-5 trap and the uncomfortable, specific steps required to break out. Not inspiration, not motivation. Map. Let's talk about the illusion of safety, because this is where the trap actually begins. Not with the salary, not with the company, but with the feeling. The feeling that a job is the safe choice, the responsible choice, the adult thing to do. And I understand why it feels that way. There's a paycheck on a specific date. There's health insurance. There's a title on LinkedIn that signals to the world and to yourself that you have your life together. That feeling is real, but here's what's also real. That safety is borrowed, not owned. Your stability depends entirely on a decision made in a boardroom you've never been inside. One restructuring, one budget cut, one new manager who doesn't like you, and the safety you built your entire financial life around disappears in a 30-minute meeting. The biggest lie you were ever told wasn't about money. It was about security. You were taught that a job provides security. What a job actually provides is the illusion of security, consistent enough to keep you comfortable, fragile enough to collapse without warning. Real security isn't a paycheck. Real security is a set of skills, income streams, and assets that don't depend on one person's signature to survive. And this matters because comfort is the mechanism of the trap. Not force, not fear. Comfort. When you feel just stable enough, you don't build an exit. The paycheck keeps coming, the routine stays intact, and the quiet voice that asks, "Is this it?" gets easier and easier to ignore, until one day it stops asking entirely. That's not peace. That's resignation wearing the mask of stability. Now here's where most people's understanding of the trap breaks down. They think the problem is a low salary. They think if they could just earn more, $20,000 more, $30,000 more, the trap would loosen. So they work harder, they ask for raises, they switch companies for a 15% bump, and the trap stays exactly the same. Because the salary was never the problem. The model is the problem. The time for money model. The structure where your income is directly, linearly tied to the hours you show up. That model has a fundamental flaw built into its DNA. It cannot scale. You cannot work 3 times as hard and earn 3 times as much. You have one body, 24 hours. That's the ceiling, and no promotion changes it. Meanwhile, Your expenses don't grow linearly. They grow with your life. A relationship, a child, a car that finally dies. A medical bill you didn't see coming. Linear, incomi, nonlinear expenses. Do the math on that over 20 years, and you understand exactly why most people feel like they're falling behind even when they're technically moving forward. Even if you get promoted, you are still playing the same game. Different jersey, same rules, same ceiling, just slightly higher. The structure didn't change. You just moved up one level inside it. So let's name the 4 actual chains of the 925 system, because when you see them clearly, you can't unsee them. And that's when things start to shift. The first chain is the time ceiling. You have 24 hours. Your employer buys a portion of them. That transaction has a hard limit, and that limit is your maximum earning potential inside this model. No amount of effort changes the number of hours in a day. So your incomi, by definition, is capped. Not by your value, not by your intelligence, by arithmetic. The second chain is the permission economy. Think about what requires approval in your current work life. A raise requires approval. A vacation requires approval. A lateral move requires approval. Your growth, professionally, financially, personally, is gated behind someone else's decision. You are not in control of your own trajectory. You are a passenger who occasionally gets to suggest a turn. The third chain is skill stagnation, and this one is subtle enough that most people miss it entirely. Your employer trains you in the skills that make you useful to them, not the skills that make you powerful in the market, not the skills that transfer to something you build yourself. Every year you spend sharpening those skills, you become more valuable to them, and sometimes less marketable everywhere else. Your expertise deepens inside a box that someone else built and owns. The fourth chain is comfort addiction. The predictable paycheck creates a neurological pattern, a reliable cycle built around a guaranteed deposit, and your brain, wired to minimize uncertainty, starts to interpret that pattern as safety. Over time, the idea of disrupting that cycle, even to build something better, triggers a genuine stress response. You're not lazy. You're not unambitious. You're conditioned to stay. You don't stay because you're forced. You stay because you're comfortable. And comfort, when it prevents growth, is just a slow-motion trap with better lighting. Now, let's go deeper, because understanding the chains isn't enough. You need to understand why people never break them. And it's not what most people assume. The obvious answer is fear. Fear of uncertainty. Fear of losing income. Fear of failing publicly. And yes, that's real. But it's not the root. The route is something installed long before the first paycheck: social conditioning. Most people were raised in environments where a good job was the definition of success. Not wealth. Not freedom. A job. Stable. Respectable. Ideally with benefits and a title that sounds good at family dinners. That conditioning runs deep. Deep enough that even when someone intellectually understands the trap, they feel guilty considering the exit, because leaving the system their parents celebrated feels like ingratitude, like recklessness. Then there are the golden handcuffs. And if you've been in a decent paying job for a few years, you know exactly what I mean. Your lifestyle has adjusted to your income. The apartment you moved into after the raise, the car payment that felt manageable when you signed, the small luxuries that have slowly become baseline expectations. Lifestyle inflation is not a character flaw. It's a predictable human response to increased income. But it creates a very specific trap. Your cost of living rises to meet your salary, which means your margin for risk shrinks to nearly zero. You can't afford to take a chance because you can't afford to lose what you now need to maintain your life. The golden handcuffs don't lock you in with force. They lock you in with math. Most people don't hate their job enough to leave. And that is the real problem. Not that the job is unbearable, but that it's bearable enough. Just comfortable enough to prevent the discomfort required for change. This is the underpaid loop, and I want you to see it clearly, because once you see it, you'll recognize it everywhere. It starts with getting a job, earning just enough to live on. Then expenses rise, because they always do. Savings stay thin. And because savings are thin, quitting feels financially catastrophic. So you stay, you get a small raise, expenses adjust upward, savings stay thin, the fear stays exactly where it was. And then you repeat. Year after year. Different title, same loop. It's not a career. It's a cycle. And the terrifying part, it can continue completely uninterrupted until retirement, at which point you exit a system that never made you wealthy and enter a fixed income that never lets you catch up. Have you noticed this pattern in your own life? Not in some abstract version, in the actual numbers. Pull up your bank account mentally. How much has actually accumulated over the past 2 years relative to what you've earned? For most people, the answer is uncomfortable. Not because they spent irresponsibly, but because the loop is designed to keep the margin small enough that building wealth feels perpetually out of reach. And this leads to something even more important. The moment people realize they're stuck usually hits somewhere in the late 20s or mid. You've been doing everything right by conventional standards. You show up. You work hard. You've been promoted at least once. You earn more than you did 5 years ago. And yet, the feeling of financial progress is strangely absent. You check your net worth, I actually check it, with a spreadsheet or an app, and you realize the number is not where 10 years of work should have taken it. The math doesn't add up. The effort doesn't match the outcome. For the first time, clearly, unmistakably, you see the gap between what the system promised and what it actually delivered. That moment is painful. But it's also, if you let it be, clarifying, because it's the moment the comfortable story you've been telling yourself stops working. Run the real number, not the optimistic version, with realistic raises, with realistic inflation, with your actual savings rate. Where do you land at 58 y 55? The answer, for most people on this track, is sobering, and that sobriety is the beginning of something useful. And this is where most people make their biggest mistake. They see the gap, they feel the urgency, and then they respond in the most intuitive, most natural, and most completely wrong way possible. They work harder, they stay later, they take on more, they position themselves for the next promotion, or they switch companies chasing a 20% salary bump that feels for about 3 months. Like a genuine escape. But here's what doesn't change. The model. They're still trading time for money, still inside the permission economy, still hitting the time ceiling. The number on the paycheck changed. The structure of the trap didn't. You can't escape the trap using the same rules that created it. This is not a motivational line. It's a logical fact. If the trap is the time for money model, then working more hours inside it is not an escape. It's deeper entanglement. Wrong. Strategy applied with more effort doesn't produce different results. It produces the same results faster, with more exhaustion attached. Asking for a raise doesn't break the ceiling. It just raises it by a few feet. You're still under it. So, what does the actual escape look like? Because this is where most content fails. It identifies the problem with precision and then dissolves into vague inspiration. That's not what we're doing here. The escape is a specific sequence. It takes time. It is not painless, but it is logical and executable. Step 1, shift from income to skill leverage. Not just any skills, high value, transferable, market-facing skills. The kind the open market will pay for regardless of who your employer is. Sales, digital marketing, copywriting, programming, financial analysis, video production. These are skills that have value outside your current job description. Not the internal software only your company uses. Skills that, if you left tomorrow, someone else would pay for possibly more than your current employer does. Building this takes time, usually 6 to 18 months of deliberate, focused development. But it is the only foundation the rest of the escape plan can actually stand on. Step 2, build parallel income before you need it. This is critical. Most people think the escape is a dramatic moment, a resignation letter, a leap of faith, a clean break. That is the cinematic version. It is also the most financially dangerous version. The real escape is slower and smarter. You build a secondary income stream while the primary one is still running, freelancing in your high-value skill, consulting, a small digital product. Content that generates passive revenue. It does not matter how small it starts, it matters that it exists and that it grows. Because the moment your parallel income covers even 30% of your baseline expenses, the psychological relationship with your job changes completely. The fear that keeps you in the loop starts to loosen. You are no longer trapped because you need the paycheck to survive. You are choosing to stay until the numbers make leaving rational. That is a fundamentally different kind of power. Step 3. Buy back your time. This is where most people get the sequence wrong. They try to buy back time before they've built the income to afford it. The order matters. First, the skills, then the parallel income. Then, when the parallel income is real and growing, you start reducing dependency on the salary. Maybe you negotiate remote work, maybe you reduce hours. Maybe you protect bandwidth for building. Each reduction in dependency is a small act of financial sovereignty. You are gradually transferring your time from their system to your own. Step 4. Enter the leverage economy. This is the destination the first 3 steps are building toward. The leverage economy is where your income is no longer directly proportional to your hours. Where a skill, a system, or an asset does work while you are not actively doing it. Freelancing at scale, a business with a team, digital products, investments that compound, content that earns over time. These are not passive in the fantasy sense. They require real work to build. But once built, they operate with a leverage ratio that a salary never can. 1 hour of work today can generate income for 6 months. One product created this quarter can sell without your involvement next year. That structural difference between the leverage economy and the time economy is what financial freedom actually means in practice. Freedom doesn't come from quitting your job. It comes from making your job irrelevant. Now, I need to give you the reality check most videos conveniently skip, because without it, everything I've just described sounds like a weekend project. It is not. The escape is genuinely difficult. It requires building real skills in your off hours when you are already tired. It requires tolerating the discomfort of uncertain parallel income while maintaining a full-time job. It requires saying no to things. Staying patient when the progress feels invisible. Most people, if we're being completely honest, will watch this video and not do it. Not because they lack intelligence or desire, but because the difficulty is real and the payoff is delayed and the comfort of a loop is immediate. That gap between difficulty and comfort is where most escape attempts end. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It was designed to produce reliable, productive workers, not wealthy, independent individuals, and it does that job remarkably well. It is not a conspiracy. It is a structure. And structures can be exited, but only if you're honest enough about what you're up against. Here is where we land. 5 years from now, you will be somewhere. The question is not whether time will pass. The question is, what structure your financial life will be operating inside when it does? If nothing changes, the loop continues. Not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, because the loop doesn't require your active participation to perpetuate itself. It just requires your inaction. The trap doesn't need to force you to stay. It just needs you to never decide to leave. But if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. The trap is not your job. The trap is staying in it without a plan. Your job, right now, is not the enemy. It is a resource. It is funding the transition if you choose to use it that way. The salary that feels like a ceiling can be, with the right strategy, the seed capital for something that eventually outgrows it. In 5 years, you'll either still be in the loop or you'll be out. The difference between those two outcomes is not luck, not talent, not connections. It is what you do after this video ends. Not next month when things settle down. Now, while the clarity is still sharp, while the discomfort is still useful, while the cost of waiting is something you can feel rather than just know. Drop a like if this hit differently. And if someone you know is stuck in the loop, send this to them. Not to alarm them, because they deserve to see the map.